If you're a busy small business owner trying to get it all done to keep it all moving forward, you might be missing the bigger picture. Are you looking at your business like a CEO would? Are you seeing where you should be in 6 months, in 12 months, in 18 months, in 3 years? Are you wondering about your growth or the threats to your business? Or maybe, what would I need to do to double my revenue? You should be thinking about all that stuff, and it might be helpful to look at your business through the eyes of a CEO. That's what we're going to do today on Small Business Rally Point with our guest, Mervyn Byrd. He will share the CEO secrets for small business owners. Welcome to Small Business Rally Point. This is the official weekly meeting of small business owners everywhere. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Thanks, of course, to our sponsors, Bank 59, Quick Trip, Serendipity Labs, and of course, the Idea Collective collaboration community for small business owners, who, by the way, tomorrow at 4 o'clock will be the first on the planet to hear about the Idea Collective retreat happening in November. The rest of the world, you got to wait till July 7th. But tomorrow afternoon at 4, Idea Collective members will hear all about it. We'll share you a little bit more on that at the end of the show. This show is interactive, though, so if you have questions, comments, or sarcastic remarks, get them into the chat and we'll work them into the interview. And then after the interview, we will hang out for the Quick Trip after party for a little bit of networking so everybody can meet and greet and maybe pump Mervyn for just a little bit more information because it's going to be good. So let's welcome Mervyn Byrd in. He's our guest today. He's the founder of Practical Execution Consulting Group, an executive coaching and strategic planning firm, and he's a Vistage chair. He works with leadership teams to guide them in executing their plans. Companies are good at coming up with strategies, but they're notoriously poor at execution. That's where Mervyn can help. His work at Vistage is important as he leads 2 different peer advisory groups. He also helps CEOs through their issues, challenges, and opportunities to take their businesses to the next level. Mervyn and his wife and family live in Pewaukee. With all of that out of the way, let's get to the good stuff. Mervyn, my friend, how are you, sir? Welcome to the show.
Very well, Pat. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to learn from you and get all the good stuff that you've got to share with us. So you coach CEOs all the time, but you're also around small business owners like me and many of the folks watching the show today. So let's just start at the beginning. How would you compare the outlook and the thought process of CEOs and the outlook and thought process of small business owners?
Thanks for that, Pat. I think this is very simply strategic for the CEOs versus tactical for small business owners. And many times small business owners have to be very tactical because they have to do the nuts and the bolts to get the day-to-day business done. And if they're not looking at the business from a strategic standpoint, then they will be doomed to be a small business owner forever. Now, nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to be, if you want your business to be a small business always, that's great. If you are looking at scaling your business, you have to get out of the day-to-day tactical and into a strategic mindset.
So let's make sure we understand the terms a little bit. So the difference between strategic and tactical, how would you define strategic thinking? Maybe some examples of what that is. And how would you define the tactical day-to-day stuff? So we kind of know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I don't mean to throw the jargon out there and just leave it hanging. Sometimes we do that in this world sometimes. So strategic thinking is really that high level steering the ship, right? Where are we going? Where are we going a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and looking at that roadmap, if you will, right? Versus being stuck. You've heard the cliche, working on the business versus working in the business. Mm-hmm. If you're working in the business, you're in it. You can't see the forest for the trees. You are in tactical mode. If you're working on the business, you are able to look above it. You're above the clouds. You're able to see what's happening, and you can steer the ship from a strategic plan. From a tactical standpoint, you're constantly reactive. What's happening in the market causes you to do something versus you being strategic and thinking about what you're going to do moves ahead and being able to make those decisions before they come up.
Now, strategic thinking and looking forward is one of the big responsibilities of being a CEO, right? That's pretty much the job, is to make 100%. Sure you see where you're going.
Yeah. That is your job, yes. Mm-hmm.
So when you're a small business owner, as you correctly pointed out, if you own a hamburger restaurant, someone's got to make the hamburgers, right? So if you're busy making the
Right.
hamburgers, you're not looking at where you're going in a year. So just as a thought point, how would you recommend a small business owner, step away from the grill and to look up at the horizon and where things are going? Is that a daily activity, weekly, monthly? What would you recommend?
I think it's a daily activity. Now, some will work on it weekly or monthly, but I think it's a daily activity. Setting apart time every day, whether that's to start 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I recommend an hour per day of just thinking about your business strategically. That's your time. That's the time that you can be selfish and not worry about how the sausage is made. This is your opportunity to think about the business as a going concern long term. And what CEOs, they have a hard time doing that initially, but what they find is that once they do that, their staff respects that time and they don't necessarily bother them. They don't bother them. They know, hey, from 3 to 4, this is when Pat's doing his thing. We're not going to bother him. And your staff respects that.
All right, so let's put that into context for small business then. Carving out an hour a day is probably way more than the average small business owner can carve out. But if we do find time over our first cup of coffee in the morning, or as we wrap up our day, or over lunch, or wherever it is, let's pretend that Mervyn was sitting across the desk from us. What are some of the thought questions that we should be considering? Because just to sit there and stare at the ceiling isn't effective. So, what are some of the things that we should be thinking about when it's time to think strategically?
Yeah. So what do I want to? It's funny. We just did an exercise like this today with my trusted advisor group. Where do you want to be in a year from now? What does that look like? Okay. So now let's walk that backwards. All right. So this is what I want to achieve a year from now. So what are the activities that is going to take in order to do that? And we all know that the plan will probably not survive the first contact with the enemy, right? But that's okay. That's fine. The plan is not what's important. The act of planning is what's important. Because once you get the plan in place, and you know that once you get hit in the mouth, that plan's going to go out the window. But at least you have the construct, and now you know what to do. You can know what to do from there if you have the plan in place. So you should start thinking about, gosh, what do I want this business to look like a year from now? All right, and allow your mind to just go there, wherever that may be. Allow it to go there, and begin to just to put pen to paper. This is what I would like to see my business look like in a year. These are the activities that I have to do in order to make that happen on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis.
And let's peg the aspirational portion of this. Some people that talk to small business owners will tell you, think about your business in a year and have a big, hairy goal and like triple your revenue or 10x your business or whatever it might be, as if that's some sort of strategic plan. That might be inspirational, but it's not necessarily what you're talking about. Or maybe it is what you're talking about. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I do, and that's not what I'm talking about. That's fine. I'm all for BHAGs. You better have one, right? I'm 100% there. What I'm saying is these are strategies of, hey, we have to do A, B, and C in order to hit that end goal. And if we're not hitting that end goal, now I can inspect what I expect, right? And so if you can't have any expectations if you're not willing to inspect the product, right? If I'm not willing to say, hey, I'm going to look at my business, I'm going to really take a fine-tooth comb to it, then what right do I have to expect anything at the end of the day?
Yeah.
I should expect only what I get. And if I don't like those results, then it's time to do some introspection on, hey, buddy, what's going on here? And inspecting, what does my plan look like? If my plan is, I'll just do whatever, I'll just accept whatever comes, then that's what you're going to get. But if you actually have a plan in place and you can figure out where you want to ride.
Spending time every day thinking strategically is definitely a different behavior from a CEO and to many small business owners. So that's a great place to start. What else have they realized, or what else is clear to you from watching successful CEOs that they do differently than the average small business owner, so we could bring some of their best practices and secrets into what we do?
That this thing is a marathon. It's not a sprint. That's probably the biggest thing I can say, is that they, at some point, they come to an inflection point in their lives and they say, you know what, this is a long-term deal. I'm going to reject every shortcut that comes my way, and I'm going to grow the business the right way. And so if you can reject those shortcuts to growth and understand that what you're doing is the shortest cut you can take, that's the best thing, because you want to build a proper infrastructure. You know, I think about what happened in Florida, that horrible tragedy that just happened in Florida happened because of shortcuts. They knew what they needed to do 3 years ago, and they thought that they can put some duct tape and spackle on there and it all will be well. And that is a good analogy for what happens when companies try to shortcut growth. You have an implosion. So understanding that what the plan that you have in place is the shortest cut that you can take. There's no shortcuts to growth. That plan you have in place is the best plan of action. Go for it.
And that's tough when you're running your own thing, especially if you're self-employed. That's a tough thing to hear, because you're really driven. You're getting out of bed every day to try and drive revenue, trying to affect change. And you're hit up every day for these shortcuts, these secrets, these things that you could invest in to grow your business quickly. But to stay on task, to stay on target, is something that not a lot of small business owners want to hear, because we want to grow really, really quickly. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I'm in that boat too, man. I'm a small business owner, right? I'm in that boat. I know. I get it. I get every day. I get some sort of something that, hey, Byrd, I know where your prospects are and all of that. I get it.
Yeah.
And the old-fashioned way, I mean, just the right way for me to build my business is the right way. Not any sort of shortcut, not any sort of magic bullet. There are no such things. I just don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I just believe that the right way to do it is the right way to do it. And that is just and not that it needs to be slow and steady. It can be fast and steady. Just be consistent. In fact, I like fast and steady much better than slow and steady. Right? But just it needs to be consistent.
I love that. I love that. Fast and steady. Quote board that, Susie. That's good. All right. We're talking with Mervyn Byrd about CEO secrets for small business owners. And we want to get your questions into the conversation as well. And we have a question from Chef Michael Brown for you, Mervyn. Can you give an example of overreaching or not making small moves to reach long-term goals? So I think following up on what we were just talking about, give a few examples of overreaching or not making small moves to reach long-term goals.
Yeah. So, you know, I just had this conversation today about a BHAG, you know, a member had a BHAG. And that's great. I want to say that you can have your big, hairy, audacious goal, but you better chunk it up into bite-sized pieces. If you are not chunking up into bite-sized pieces, if it's too much to bite off, then you're ultimately going to fail. Because, you know, I think about myself and the personality that I have. If you ask me to sit down for 3 hours and do something, failure. Because I know me, squirrel, right? Oh, ADHD or AD, whatever you want to call it, I probably have it, right? So I know that I need to take it bite-sized chunks in order to obtain my goals. I can obtain any goals that I set as long as I know that I can do short bursts and short sprints. That's my personality. So if I say, hey, by the end of next month, I want to double the size of my business, no way. That's very aspirational, but is that very realistic? So I want to make sure that I want to be realistic in my goals and not overreach so that I cause failure. And then what does that cause in my mind? I know that my self-talk can get pretty bad if I allow it to, right? You failure, what were you thinking? You're a loser, you don't need any of that stuff. So make sure that the goals aren't too easy, but you don't want them to be so difficult that you cause yourself all kinds of heartache and heartbreak after failing.
How do you like to set goals with your clients? Do you like to tell them, let's say 100 is the goal, 100 of whatever it is. Let's say 100 is the goal. Do you have them put 100 on the wall and they just have to find their way to 100? Or do you have them do 10 a month for 10 months and they need to check the little boxes? How do you like to set goals with your clients?
Yeah, well, I like to set goals how they need to have goals set. Now, there are some people who can go 100 and make it happen. That's just personally not me. So however they like to have those goals set is how I want to have them set those goals. If they, if they work better to say, listen, I need to break this up over an even period of time, then let's do that. And then let's work backwards from there. Let's work backwards from 100 and see what is it that you need to do each month, each week, each day, each hour in order to hit that 100 at the end of the day.
Let's talk about coaching CEOs, because I think if you ask a small business owner about what is it like to coach CEOs, I think many of us would think, oh, well, those people got it all figured out. They're super smart. They're way better than we are. What is it like to coach CEOs for a living? Like, what are they like? How do you motivate them? Tell us about that process. And I don't want you to spill the beans on anybody. I'm just curious about what it's like.
It is awesome because, one of the things that they say, particularly in the Vistage world, is this is the place that I can go once per month where I can be myself. No one's genuflecting in front of me. People are telling me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And that's my job. My job is to challenge them and to tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. So I love it. They love it. They say, come at me, man. Tell me. They want me to come at them because they want to be better than what they are. They know that they're not a demigod. They know that they're a human being and that they are extremely flawed, just like all the rest of us. And so when I get the opportunity to challenge them and come at them, challenge their thinking, challenge their paradigm, challenge how small they're thinking, or if they're saying something that's way outlandish, challenge that, just to make not to make sure that that's what they want. I mean, not that they are. I don't want to beat them down. I want to make sure that what it is that they're saying is truly what it is that they want. So my job is to challenge them. And we have a saying called is in a carefrontational manner. That means you're very caring, but you're confrontational. So you're gonna challenge them head on with it, with kid gloves. Those kid gloves might be wearing brass knuckles underneath, but you have the kid gloves on, right? And so when I do that and they trust me that I have their best interest in heart, the only outcome that we can have is growth.
Well, we have time for questions if you want to get them in with Mervyn, but let's just go here for a second. If there was a book of Byrd, there was like, these are the 5 things that I believe in, and let's apply them to small business owners, not necessarily CEOs. You already shared one of them, that you got to think strategically every day. That's a good one. You got to have your goals and how you execute the goals. It depends on how you are motivated and how you perform. That one's awesome too. What else is really important to you when you're coaching a client, so folks on the call can get a little bit of Byrdism from the call today?
Yeah, the big one is I'm going to interchange these terms, even though I know that they're very different. Character and integrity. Gosh, you have to have character and integrity. And character, doing what in the heck you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. That is so important because that leads to the accountability piece. If you're not accountable, what are we doing? If you're not going to be accountable to what you say you're going to do, you're not being accountable to me. You're being accountable to you and what you say you're going to do. And if you tell me that you're going to do A, B, and C by XYZ date, and that date comes and goes, and I call you on it, and you say, I didn't do it. How many times should I continue to poke and prod you? Right? So when you say you're going to do it, I expect that you're going to do it. I'm not making you do it. You're saying you're doing it. And that's the one thing about me as a coach. I'm not making anyone do anything. I'm not coming up with ideas. I'm just asking questions. I'm asking good questions to make them think so that they can come up with their plan. And when it's their plan, they're going to buy it. If it's my plan, they're not doing it. If it's their plan, it's their plan. Now they can buy into it. Now, when they say that they're going to do A, B, and C by June 28th, and June 28th comes around and it's not done, tell me about that.
Yeah. Question from Mitch Nellis wants to know, what if someone needs that coach to hold them accountable, even with a plan? Then what?
We all do. We all do. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's okay. So you need someone to hold you accountable. That's exactly why you need a coach. Mm-hmm. You have a plan, and this is exactly why people like me are employable, because companies can come up with a great big plan. They can read a book and say, this is what we ought to do, and they can come up with a beautiful plan. The problem is they don't execute. That's why a guy like me is good for them, because I can hold them accountable to execute their plan. That's exactly why people need coaches, because they don't execute their plans. It's exactly why I need a coach, right? Because I can come up with a great plan. Why I might need a personal trainer, because I know what I'm supposed to do in the gym, but if I don't have someone holding me accountable to get there,
I need a personal.
The greatest players in the world need a coach.
Yeah. I need a personal trainer because pizza's good. That's why I need a personal trainer. I like pizza. Pizza's my friend. All right. We're almost out of time. Mervyn, this has been great. We got a couple more quick questions I want to get in. Thomas Ginn wants to know, how do you help your client get clear on the vision and their why?
That's a process. Oftentimes you'll see a vision or a mission statement. I love walking into a company. You see the mission statement up there on the board, and you're right. It's a beautiful thing, but they're not. If you start talking to the employees, no one's living that mission. No one's quoting that. So that's when you get the leadership team together and you start brainstorming. Let's pick apart your mission, your vision. Are you living that? Do your employees know what it is? And it's not something that should be cutesy on a board. It's something that should be lived within the organization and the culture of the organization. So that's where I love to start, is what is the culture that you want? What is it that you want out of your organization? What does that culture look like? And there you can start getting them clear on that mission and vision, and then build a plan from there. I think that's a starting point.
All right, last question, just because I'm curious, because I have a feeling you have a pretty ready-made list on this. What are some of the most common excuses that you get that you know are BS, that you're just going to call someone on when they say, oh, my dog ate my homework, Mervyn, I didn't do the thing? Like, come on, you've got to have some good ones.
Yeah, oh man, and normally the best one is, gosh, I just got so tied up in the business. I just had so much stuff to do. This, that, and it's always something around the business that, of course, I need to understand, right? Yeah. So I need to understand that, and I need to give them a pass on that. But my job is not to give them a pass on that. My job is to understand. I understand that. And you said, you said that you were, and when I put their words back, okay, you said that you were, so what's changed?
You didn't even give me something to do and I feel guilty. Stop it.
Yeah, you said, what else is there? Again, remember I said character and integrity.
Yeah.
And when you say that you're going to do something and you do it, you show character. When you say you're going to do something, you don't do something, you show a lack of character. No one wants to show a lack of character. So when I say, well, you said, all right, Byrd, I got it. All right, done. Next time you ask me about it, it's done. Great. They're not doing it for me. They're doing it for them.
Yeah, and not all coaches get that. Not all coaches get it's not about them, it's about the client.
Man, it is so not about me. I'm the last guy on the list.
Yeah, but it's been fun talking to you. Any final thoughts for small business owners as it comes to thinking like a CEO, and some of the secrets that maybe you could trade off to us?
Yeah, one that I want to definitely make sure that they're getting is that they get perspective from other peers that they trust. That is probably and this isn't a commercial for Vistage. I promise you it's not. but perspective from other peers that you can trust is the key to why your competitors might be outdoing you right now. They're getting good perspective from people that they trust that have no other agenda other than to see them be successful. If you can get into some sort of a peer advisory group of any, I don't care what it is, get in one where you can get perspective from others that they're going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, because it's in your best interest. If I can leave you with nothing else, that is the key right there.
And that's a great place to leave it. Mervyn Byrd, thank you so much for coming on and opening our eyes to some stuff and putting on the coach pants and making us feel guilty for not even like missing a deadline. You got us, man. I feel like I owe you an email or something. Like,
well, send it then right now.
It was great. Thank you,
Thanks,
Mervyn.
man.
I appreciate it. All right, so let's move on. We've got more to tackle today. And speaking of those communities that you can get inside and have yourself be held accountable, well, how about we talk about the Idea Collective for small business owners? That's what we're here to do, so you don't have to grow your small business alone. And tomorrow night, we have a very special meeting. Every month, we do something called Night School, where we show off the best and brightest in and out of the community to teach us what their area of brilliance is. Well, tomorrow night's going to be really good. Susan Trumpler, sales goddess, founder of Unstoppable Women in Business, is going to come on tomorrow night at 6 o'clock inside the Idea Collective and teach us how to read your ideal client's mind, know exactly how they make a buying decision. And I talked with her today about what she's going to present, and it's going to be kind of workshop style. So she's going to go through your thoughts as you go through the sales process. So this particular event is going to help you become a better seller, because remember, as a small business owner, we're all in sales. So this is tomorrow night from 6 until 7:30. 6 until 7 is going to be some education from Susan. And then from 7 to 7:30 will be some networking for small business owners. The other thing that we're really excited about is the Idea Collective Retreat happening in November 5th, 6th, and 7th at the Grand Geneva Resort in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. The announcement happens on Wednesday, the 7th. That's when the entire world will find out about our amazing keynote speakers and get a chance to buy tickets. However, the Idea Collective, where you're going to get a chance starting tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, the first 100 early bird tickets go on sale, and we're going to do the full announcement to show you all the cool stuff we've got cooked up for the retreat in November. So tomorrow afternoon at 4, don't miss it. If you're not in the community, you can join us on Wednesday, the 7th, for the announcement and your access to the early bird tickets. Okay, something else fun we did. Look at all this fun stuff. We got nothing but fun stuff today. It's time to announce the winner of our Quick Trip contest. So we're partnered with Quick Trip, so we do some fun giveaways just because we feel like it. This one was our Independence Day giveaway, where we were giving away a $50 gift card to Quick Trip and one of these fun patriotic Tipsy Elves sweatshirts. This one says, "Get in, loser. We're going to the moon." I love that one. Anyway, the winner gets to pick whichever one they like, and the winner is Bob Gross from Gross Automation. Congratulations, Bob. Our team will be in touch with you to hook you up with the gift card and give you a chance to pick out the shirt that you like. All right, bringing it home now. If you're a member of the Idea Collective, you can get 1 free year in the community with our friends from Bank 59. Their generous support to the community is helping people get 12 months free. Hit up bank59.com/Idea Collective. And Small Business Rally Point is sponsored by Quick Trip. Stop by Quick Trip and play their Quick Rewards Scratch-Off Sweepstakes with Mountain Dew. If you do, you can scratch off each day and have your chance to win a 2021 Corvette and other prizes only at Quick Trip. Okay, with that, we're going to wrap. Big thanks to Mervyn for coming on today. And thank you for watching the show and subscribing to our channel on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Idea Collective. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.